Oh, here we go. How to tell if you're a draconian starseed. They don't take kindly to authority higher than themselves. They're drawn to science, math, and technology.
Charted at math, so that's not me.
Attracted to reptiles, amphibians, and dragons. You're literally talking to an amphibian right now. It says the primary job they end up in is politics.
Uh-oh.
You're done. It's over.
I bet you some Nazis took psychedelics.
No. Okay, that's the problem. You were like, I want my fascists to take acid. I want acid fascism.
Yeah, let's go. I want psychedelic. I want Dune. That's how you get Dune, baby. Psychedelic fucking fascists. Let's go.
And I don't think it's a really far stretch if you've accepted certain premises, such as pyramids are time traveling devices from the past. I don't think it would be that hard for you to suddenly land on watching Hyperborean mythology and being like, wow, these Aryans sound great.
Someone bring Olive in here. Olive! Olive!
You know you gotta summon like this.
Mother! Mother!
Olive.
Mother!
Olive, cut here, Olive.
Mother, yeah, Olive's not our editor.
Summon her.
Olive!
Yeah, but it summons her, dude. It triggers her.
Olive! Oh yeah, right. You gotta clap. You gotta clap.
Olive.
Yeah. Cut. Wait, do Lonabox's voice. Can you do Lonabox's voice?
Olive.
Olive. Olive. Cut
You have to
here.
be very neutral. It's
Cut.
very neutral. It's
Cut here.
I don't know if I can
Here,
do a
Olive.
loner box.
Cut. Cut here, Olive. Olive.
Whoa, it worked.
Olive.
It worked.
Oh, there you go. Wow. Oh my god. As if by magic. Okay. Get your fucking little axolotl freak ass fucking.
I know. I'm getting a little axolotl.
Whip
Get your
it
little
out.
fucking. We spent big money on that. Okay. You have no idea. All right.
Oh,
I personally
okay.
whipped. I whipped Oscar between every brush stroke. Okay. All right. That is blood, sweat, and tears. Emphasis on the blood.
Oscar didn't make that one, but sure.
Oh yeah,
janky
right.
ass
That's
app
true. That was
is not
Wiz's one.
working.
Yeah.
This janky ass app is not working. Oh, here we go.
Show non-video participants. No, thank you. We disappear. All right. There we go. All right.
Okay.
Whoa.
Well, I'm
Welcome
getting
to the
this
stream, Olive. Hello.
Oh.
Welcome.
God,
So
you triggered me so much, Smug.
Why? Olive.
It's just so.
It's fine. Olive.
simping
Olive. Hey.
so
What is it? You're
hard.
sharing your. Okay. I
I'm
got
doing it perfectly. Shut the fuck up, you little freak. Anyway, Olive, hello, welcome. How's it going? How's it
Hi.
going, buddy?
Perfectly. He's not done.
Going
it.
good. I mean, look. Also, like, I don't totally disagree so far. Like, I do think. I think Sassafras just sent me something really funny, which is this guy who's
right.
like, everyone's sort of,
Smug
you know,
bug. You're sharing
help
the wrong
manifest.
footage.
Yeah, you're sharing the
What
wrong
am I
guy.
showing wrong?
You said
Wait,
you got
what?
it perfect, and you're lying to me, dude.
You're doing the
Wait,
wrong
what?
axolotl. You're doing the tiny axolotl.
Wait, what do you want? What do you want from me? What the fuck do you
The
want
real
from me?
I'm sharing
axolotl.
the
Get all
bigger
his face
one.
up.
Oh my god, hold on. Oh, you've got your... Wait, but I'm literally not showing non-video participants. What's the fucking problem? Hold on, I need to figure this out. What the fuck have you done? How have you fucked this
Wait,
up so
what do
badly?
you mean?
How have you fucked this up so badly?
How are
Oh,
you?
you're
Instantly
streaming?
worse.
You're streaming? This is so much worse. Okay, whatever, fine.
Oh yeah, no, I can't. That's how I have to do it. I don't have it
Insane.
as a video.
Absolutely insane way to do this, but fine. Go off, please continue. All right,
Can
we
you
have
just
the
crop it?
She's so I'm not gonna crop it. I'm too lazy. She's terrifying. Look at
whatever.
this.
Wow.
I can't even
Crop
crop
it,
a
but
key
that's
you in.
it.
This is a disaster. All right, you.
Anyways, move
Make your-
along.
make
You
your
guys are
case.
ADHD. Move along. Sassafras just sent me a funny
Oh,
video
God.
though, which is like I think really accurate. Which is like, you know, everyone has sort of helped her manifest her own fame by dunking on her. I think that's just a way the internet operates that people can't really seem to cope with because, yeah, like all of the hate she's gotten is contributing to her success. And
Absolutely.
honestly, I don't know.
Well
Yeah,
deserved.
if you have to deal with
Queen.
that much hate, honestly, fuck it. Maybe you deserve your success too.
Yep.
You know, maybe you deserve the audience you built. I don't think I don't have a problem with actually her as a person. But I do think she kind of represents how people fundamentally misunderstand aspect of how fascism operates. So, you know, I'm not
Whoa.
going to call her a fascist. I
Whoa,
mean,
what the fuck?
you debunked the whole Pleiades thing. I guess she's like a lion starred.
An intergalactic lion Jewess. Get it right. Thank you.
I was
Jewish,
gonna
dude.
say that, but I wasn't sure.
You weren't
She's a
sure?
intergalactic
Okay, I'll bite the bullet.
Star
Coward.
Zionist.
Yeah, Star Zionist.
Okay, but the inability to understand how this kind of esoteric nature actually plays a really critical role in setting the preconditions for a sort of fascist metaphysical revolution is,
Yep.
I think, why people miss the signs of rising fascism.
Okay.
So there's two ways we can kind of look at this. The first one I think is a shorter, simpler way. It's very capitalist realism, Mark Fisher, which
Yep.
is that there is a kind of sanitized rebellion, sanitized spiritual rebellion that she represents. She's kind of playing the role of a druid, but within the context of a Christian writing about the druids, not the druids documenting themselves. Well, they never documented themselves, but the druids played a really important role for Christianity as this barbaric other, right? They performed a lot of the things that the Christians understood themselves in opposition to. So, they were the civilized ones, the druids were the barbaric others, and it creates this kind of civilization narrative. I think she's playing that role. Like, I think why people focus on her as an appropriating figure is partly because she is kind of a mockery of this sort of primordial archetype, right? Like, she's very clearly rooted in capitalist consumption. It's a bit of an act. It's fine, but it's a bit of an act, and it's performing this barbaric other, which really only serves to, I think, reinforce this idea that this isn't what civilization is, like, right? This isn't what is civilized, and it is it is mocking, I think, indigenous belief systems. So yeah, it is.
Okay, hold on. How do you wait? So
Whoa.
okay, so
It upholds the wrong, are you saying?
The
The
main-
ideal of the wrong.
yeah, but so okay, hold on. So the main claim that you're making as part of that is that basically by performing a facsimile of like kind of the druidic other, like the tradition that has been kind of
A
oppressed
hyperbolic
and
stereotype of it.
sure, a stereotype, right? She's now. Are you saying that she is representing this otherness accidentally and therefore fueling a useful tool to this like oppressive group, or do you think that she is like serving the function not intentionally but like inherently there's no way to do this without it serving the function of just you're assisting the norm by being a stereotypical other?
I think it can be both, because I think someone can be drawn towards oppositional, defiant expressions. Punk is dead. Now everyone is punk, right? Because
Yeah.
what's cool is to not be part of the majoritarian culture. What's cool is to find a minoritarian identity and lean on that heavily as part of your unique expression. Notice nearly every single song she has is about herself being unique as a way of showing other people they should be proud of their own uniqueness. But this obsession with being unique is part of this kind of, I think, cultural sickness, this obsession with I'm different, I'm not part of this majority group. And yet it does also serve that function of reinforcing what norms are, right? Playing this sort of trope, as it were, of this sort of barbaric other, only because she herself is obsessed with her own individuality and her need to differentiate herself from the group.
Well, okay, so I kind of,
Whoa.
okay, I do kind of agree with one point, kind of, right? Like, so there is an individualism to this, but why are you not okay with people expressing their individualism through like esoteric concepts? Like, why is that inherently a problem? Because I can see a future where, the xenogender stuff pops off in a way where everyone's representing themselves through all of these different kind of aspects, and instead of using hard academic labels to describe things, people are more likely to use more like poetic meaning, trying to like reach at a substance. Well, like, what's wrong with that? Like, what is the issue with saying that you're a space lion and using that as a way to convey things about yourself to other people that are less easy to convey in just academic language? Why is that an issue?
Yeah. It's not an issue. I mean, yeah, she should be space lion gender. Let's just bring this all together, right? Like, everyone, I don't have a problem with people finding a way to understand themselves and trying to communicate that, even if it's seemingly irrational or esoteric, which is why this was my shorter critique, and one that is, I think, ultimately reaches this dead end.
Ultimately
I don't really...
weaker and easily dismissed. Cool. Okay, let's go to your actual critique then. Since
since
you walked into the blender on that one. Look,
No, I didn't walk into the blender. I didn't walk into the blender.
I am the blender.
This is a superficial way to understand, I think, TikTok's frustration with her and why people are leaning so obsessively on trying to debunk her as appropriation.
Sure.
Because in the superficial way, they can understand how she's operating within the role of commodities, but ultimately their frustration is still about consumption and aesthetics, and so it is ultimately just an aesthetic frustration, and so it is the more superficial critique.
But it is okay, so she is superficial to some extent, sure, but I think we were making jokes about this as we read like the Lyranian starseed shit, but as we read
I think the people critiquing her are equally as superficial as
Oh, absolutely, sure. But I'm, we're critiquing her, and we're all brain geniuses. We're all star pods.
No, you
we're
love
not
her.
even
You're
star
simping
seeds.
her. You're
Okay,
simping her. You're simping her.
I've critiqued her.
And Wiz
I've
is
critiqued her a little bit.
projecting his ex.
Wiz is dealing with his like feelings for his ex, while me and you are debating esoteric
He's
hippie.
having flashbacks.
Wiz is just getting PTSD traumatic flashbacks to like his ex ruining his life. Like, this is great. Oh yeah, she was really great actually. I don't really know why it didn't work. I'm sorry, buddy. All right,
She was great. She's the reason I fled to London.
Yeah, we'll get you there. Yeah, call her. Yeah, you say, hey, I saw Shanin Blake, and she reminded me of you, babe.
Wait, hold on. In Canada.
Is this the one? Is this the one that's sending you pictures of her legs?
No.
Okay.
No, watch out. That one might be listening.
Different.
Oh, this is just sorry. Never mind.
That one might be listening.
That might be a little. That would maybe a little hardcore. Okay, but one thing I want to say here, Olive, is that we were making jokes reading the Lorrainian Star Siege bullshit, whatever. Obviously, it's garbage. But at the end of the day, like, it's just like astrology or tarot, and more importantly, like, I think those are as useful as using a concept like ADHD to describe yourself. Like, I think the way that people use ADHD as a label is as problematic as the way people use Lyranian starseed, right? At the end of the day, you're just grouping a pattern, a set of behaviors you want to describe to other people. When I say I have ADHD, it's so that my girlfriend doesn't get angry at me for leaving the fucking mug out, okay? That's it. That's why I use it. I say, I have ADHD, this is a thing that we're gonna have to build our life around. I don't care whether it has a label or not. This is a thing that I feel like is somewhat immutable about me. I'll try my best, but there are some things I'm good at and some things I'm bad at, and this is the label to describe that. And Lyranian starseed is as good a label as fucking any, and it seems to imply basically the same neurodivergent traits that people tend to use on TikTok anyway.
Right. No, yeah, I mean, I actually was thinking about that. I was like, I wonder actually, I can't judge this, right? Because I'm not even close to a professional at all in this regard or study.
Well, I have a degree,
but
so
I wonder.
definitely...
I know you do. No, but I mean, I wondered as I was watching this, like, as she's talking about some sort of space identity. I was like, I wonder how much healthier it would be to like understand yourself as a starseed rather than like the people who convince themselves they're DID. Because I eventually, if you're kind of walking away from this, irrational psychosis belief system, it might be easier to understand that as semi-psychotic or deranged and actually unpack it.
Thinking you're Jesus, then
no, it's not. Wait, hold on, Wiz. It's not thinking you're Jesus, but think about the way people use ADHD right now. It's so defeatist. It's so learned helplessness. It's, I have ADHD, so I can't do anything, right? But if you say I'm a Lyranian lioness power emanating through me, you use it as a fucking tool. You use it as a fucking power. This is literally an empowering force instead of a debilitating force. I think it. I will make an argument. This is better. This is better than medicine.
The argument I was making, how like
I'm making this argument.
God complex.
I am a Lyranian.
Is it better that they think they're Jesus or understand that they have a God complex?
I'm a space Jew.
When you both are yelling, people actually can't hear you.
No, I know, it's fine. That's it's part of the charm of the stream. Okay, no one actually needs to hear the words. Sorry, Alan. But anyway,
can I finish my point before?
Fine. I swear to God, I heard Transformers in there, so I was ready to cut you off. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's you going crazy because I didn't say that.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
What I was saying was, is it better that we leave someone to believe they're Jesus than helping them understand they have like a God complex?
I don't.
No.
I think
that one doesn't work because. No. That's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm because if someone has a God complex, they should actually understand the I'm talking about when people self-diagnose incorrectly online as sort of part of this victim complex, and it actually sort of reinforces that own pathology. They're pathologizing themselves, rather than empowering themselves. So it's like sometimes there's a time when you need a diagnosis clearly in order to seek a certain treatment.
But what if you get tested for the space test and you get the bad guys? What if you get diagnosed a draconian?
Oh yeah, you diagnosed me as a draconian, right?
You're a draconian, yeah. That's so funny, actually. The idea that no one. Oh, here we go. How to tell if you're a draconian starseed. All right, sorry. I'm going to do a little bit of research right now. I like how
you diagnose yourself with ADHD because you can be in a Harry Potter house.
Wait, no, this is crazy. The highest academic journal that contains information on how to tell if you're a Draco starseed is Wattpad.
No.
It's the fan fiction. It's where all of the 14-year-old girls write their first smutty fan fiction.
Well, that's the same place I got my gender, and I found out about all my alters. So that place is a real resource.
That's a banger.
Okay, look. While you do some research on whether me or you or we're draconian starseeds, I'm going to set up this sort of premise. I think it's the sort of deeper issue I have with what I call esoteric fascism. So you do
Okay.
some research, you get back to me. I'm going to set this up a little bit. So one thing that
Oh my
I
god,
find
this is
really
literally
frustrating
you,
about
Olive.
oh
Sorry.
no, wait.
Okay, hold
I
on.
want to hear about it.
Okay, alright, okay. They don't take kindly to authority higher than themselves. They're drawn to science, math, and technology. Um, when in
We're
alignment
retarded at
and
math, so that's
yeah,
not me.
when in alignment and from a higher dimension, want to unite people and work towards a common goal. Talented at leading, building, and coordinating efforts. Attracted to reptiles, amphibians, and dragons. You're literally talking to an amphibian right now. You may have
Attract
lizard-like
them.
physical
Find you guys
characteristics.
repulsive.
Yay!
You're calling me a lizard person?
I'm calling you a lizard
These are
person.
reptilians.
Hey,
They're
do you have a
calling me
lower?
skinwalker.
Do you have a lower body temperature, Olive? Do you have an abnormally low body temperature?
Absolutely not. No, I
Okay.
don't.
Are you drawn to the
You're
sun
not a
and
cold
warmth?
person?
No, I'm
But it
always one
says-
of those people that's like always overheating.
It says you
But do
find
you have
your
like cold feet? Do you
No,
have cold feet all the time?
wait. It says the primary job they end up in is politics.
Uh-oh.
Fuck.
You're done. It's over.
These are reptilians, bro.
These are literally the reptilians.
Oh,
Literally,
no.
though.
Is it that kind of conspiracy theory?
It
Does
is.
lead
It's
into
literally.
that?
We how do we always loop back
It is,
around
yeah.
to David Icke? We can never escape.
Because okay, wait. This
Oh,
is
here we go.
why it
Esoteric
always
fascism.
loops back
Let's go.
around.
Because he was right.
Yeah,
'cause he was
this
right.
is the same. This is the same soup. That's why different little
Sure.
modulations, right? Scientology has its own little script. The sort of schizophrenic QAnoners have their own little script about the reptilians, and this is just the sort of hippie affect of I think the same soup, which I do see as the preconditions for essentially the fascist text.
The
which
sort of
writes
like
itself.
Nietzschean
Often we look
fascism.
yeah, because often we are looking for conservative signifiers because I do think we incorrectly identify fascism as a conservative revolution. But it would be better understood as
Mm.
like this obsessive desire with a sort of purging and a rebirth of the nation. The swastika, after all, was an appropriated symbol of rebirth, of
Hinduism?
reincarnation. Well, of Hinduism, but of specifically, it was trying to signal a sort of rebirth, a transcendent
Reincarnation, yeah.
rebirth. So these wait. So this is like
No?
what makes
No,
it kind of
oh, sorry.
fascist.
Let's not get distracted.
Yeah, you always get distracted. So
Never.
this is like the mythical expansion of fascism from the sort of like Hobbesian body politic towards a sort of the blood and soil Volksgemeinschaft, right? A very sort of like ecological understanding of a people and the nation. And this is what triggers the need for like this magical purification ritual of the ground, which leads, sets the conditions for the sort of ecological genocide that we see. But it's always trapped within the sort of the casing of a utopian hopefulness, right? That's how it would look. If you were in Germany as the Third Reich was rising, it would seem like a utopian, hopeful fervor, even though, of course, retroactively, we tend to see this in very sort of demonic, bureaucratic,
Yeah.
cold lens. It would not have felt like that at the time as it was rising, because this is the really critical illusion of fascism. So the question is how could someone fall into this belief system? And that's kind of the question of Germany, right? When I lived there, the people I lived with, like, these were academics, right? These were important people, but their own families were, Nazi youth. So it's
Yeah.
kind of this constant question of how do reasonable people fall into a fascist belief system? Well, my answer for you is because we killed God. So there's
Okay.
this like I think in the absence of a sort of religious organization, we've struggled to manage like the terror that it's called. I think Viktor Frankl writes about this. He actually wrote about this from the Auschwitz, from Dachau. He talks about this sort of the need for humans to be organized around meaning and time. There's also another group that I think spells it out really interesting called the terror management theory. They were writing in the 80s, and they identified three egoic mechanisms, egoic defense mechanisms, which emerge in order to ward off this fear of death in the absence of a sort of religious organization or God, this desperate need to transcend this despair. So the three ways, by the way, she hits all of these, just to be clear. The three ways we kind of ward off death, and we have these defense mechanisms. One, accepting a sort of a permanent dysfunction, aka dissociation. So drug use, addiction, checking out, numbing out, These are all ways we sort of dissociate from the crippling anxiety of sort of just being like hyper conscious and self-aware of our own death. Two, we we take refuge in primordial archetypes, so a sort of appropriation of cosmological symbols of the past. And three, this obsession with a grandiose transcendence, so rejecting the weak symbolism of modernity and attempting to relocate ourselves within like sacred time, within a sort of sacred organization of ourselves.
So can I reframe these back to you just so I understand, especially the okay. So the first one is like so the fear is present tense, right? Like you're scared now, so you disassociate from the present, you return to those primordial archetypes, so you reinforce the value of what's come before you, and you fixate on a future transcendence. So I guess the implication is present tense is scary, and I can make the future less scary by adding power and value to stuff that's happened before, which is kind of like legacy, right? Like if the things that existed before me exist today and have value and power, then that means that what we build today and what I have in the future will have power and value to people in the future, and so I can live forever. If I make the people who existed before me live forever, then the people in the future can live forever and I will live forever, right? It's this like comfort in this idea of like legacy. Sounds like the main driving force. It's a way to become immortal, like culturally.
Right. Well, it's a way to become immortal because of this core belief in rebirth, in a kind of recapitulation. It's sometimes called. I think it's also called like palingenesis. Again, that's the symbol of the swastika. So there is this core metaphysical belief that if we can find a way to transcend this sort of this liminal complex created by modernity, the liminoid, if we can find a way to transcend
all right,
this,
liminoid.
we will. Yeah, we're in the liminoid. If we can find a way to transcend this and relocate ourselves within a sacred time, yes, we will find a way to
but
live
I'm not,
forever and protect
so I have
our
to
legacy.
I do have to, so I understand the concept then, like I get it. I'm not seeing it. I think if I saw more of the traits that suggest a potential for esoteric fascism, I would agree, but I basically just see xenogender level shit here, right? Like you are part of a special group. It's individualistic, but also like the group has a desire, like the goal is I guess transcendence, like there's that component to it, but I'm not convinced that all transcendence, all depictions of transcendence as like a thing you value and hold dearly necessarily comply with like esoteric fascism. Like I think that thing can be isolated from esoteric fascism. Just because they have a marker doesn't necessarily mean that it leads in that direction. I don't see, her views seem to have been fairly like consistent over the last 5 years. I don't see a weird escalation. I don't see anything that suggests a tearing down of existing structures in a way that seems
would the
like
growing of her platform not be an escalation?
No, definitely not. No, we're talking about her personal
that's
views.
Not the escalation. Here's the answer. One, did you want to finish that thought?
I just wanted to finish and say that, like, I think that
got more into the hippie aesthetic substantially. We saw this through the
aesthetic, sure, but like,
no, don't worry.
She was literally doing.
I'm just gonna debunk it another way.
She was doing Lyranian starseed shit when like 5 years ago, right? Like that shit. She was doing the fucking lioness circle. This just looks like a means
her operation has scaled
Listen,
massively. She's gone from tiny little classrooms to whole gigs being.
Yeah, but she's not. Yeah, but she's not doing. She's not.
You're projecting Wiz. You don't like to see your ex.
Yeah, no, but Wiz is just coping that his ex got famous.
I'm just saying there has been escalation. There's
hard to see her do well. I get it. Hard to see her do well without you.
If she was doing big cult gatherings, I would agree. But she's literally just being a pop star. Like there's nothing we've seen that suggests other than.
I don't know. Have you been to any of these gigs?
Wiz, drop it. That's not the
escalation.
I'll explain later.
All right, listen. The escalation I'm talking about is that I don't see her views trending towards any of these areas, right? Like I'm not concerned. The disassociation, I don't really buy it. I think her fixation on psychedelics doesn't seem like necessarily a bad thing. Like, if you want to dedicate your life to being a fucking psychonaut, I don't think that necessarily is like a harmful thing to talk about or advocate for. It's just one of the many things that you can do with your life, right? I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think that she's returning to primordial archetypes. I don't really see much of that. Like, unless you want to say that, like,
What
Okay.
that no, that's her whole shtick. She is the primordial archetype. She's more so the primordial archetype than grandiose transcendence. That would be where the political narrative of fascism would come in. But I do think she sets up the sort of preconditions for that political narrative to come in. But she is representing that, like the druid, the neo-druidism, the neo-paganism is that yearning, that nostalgia for primordial archetypes.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
are you not allowed to do that? Like, is that something that
I'm not saying you're not allowed.
necessarily?
Yeah, hold up. That's the thing.
Okay, all right. Then
That's not.
explain how
That's
this
the
explain how
precondition.
bad. Explain how bad. Explain
So-
how bad.
The escalation isn't necessarily going to happen with her specifically. The escalation, mind you, would be the fact that she's drawing attention to herself. Let's say she always stays sanitized. Let's say she even comes out and
Sure.
says fascism bad, right?
Well,
Like,
she's done a bunch of
hypothetically.
like pro BLM posters and shit. Like she did all of that
Right.
shit.
Okay. Yeah. So she's an ally. Okay.
Yeah,
But
based.
that doesn't matter because the thing is, the QAnoners, the
I don't see
other
any
people
pride
posting
flags,
about
dude.
this.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
Well, there's other people posting with similar ideas, and this all becomes one sort of algorithmic soup. I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out, as you kind of become radicalized towards some ideas, sure, maybe safer non-fascist beliefs, that you would be increasingly exposed to other esoteric beliefs. And I don't think it's a really far stretch if you've accepted certain premises, such as pyramids are time traveling devices from the past. I don't think it would be that hard for you to suddenly land on watching Hyperborean mythology and being like, wow, these these Aryans sound great. Like, it sort of seems like we need to recover the next root race and rejoin the legacy of the Aryans.
Algorithmically,
Like,
I
I don't
agree.
think that's a stretch.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree algorithmically.
That's
Yes.
how we operate. Yeah.
But that's
You
an
cannot
external
think of
pressure.
this.
That's an external
Are you
pressure.
slippery
No,
sloping?
no.
Are you
Wait,
slippery
no,
sloping?
no,
no,
it
you're
is a
being-
slippery slope. Wait, no, it is. It's a valid slippery slope. I
It's
agree with Olive
not.
here. I agree. No, hold on. When I say a valid slippery slope, I mean it's not a fallacy. Slippery slope is the thing that happens. Yes, that is how algorithms work. Algorithms are, by definition, a fucking slippery
Yeah.
slope. That's exactly how they work.
Okay, well, so here's the thing. Yeah, is that the slippery slope fallacy isn't of her, 'cause, right? I'm the hypothetical. She can maintain frame like
Yeah.
this the whole time. She can, she doesn't need to change for this to be true, because ultimately, all of this fear, the terror management theory, this is always operating. These are egoic defense mechanisms, but it's also true of the group, right? You can't have a fascist national myth without the group operating on a kind of group level, the Volksgemeinschaft, right? The belief in a transcendent community. So eventually, it does sort of transcend the eternal, the individual experience of the ego, and it becomes about joining some sort of other group. So yeah, eventually, I do think people in the algorithms become exposed to this other mythology, and I don't think it's that far of a leap. And in fact, I think it would be a natural progression of this terror management strategy. I don't think some people may be satiated. It's true. Some people may be satiated with just their addictions, with just their consumption, with dissociating. Plenty of people are satisfied with that. They live and die that way. But I do think increasingly society has a lot of anxiety, and they will progress through these primordial archetypes, and eventually even that won't solve the problem.
See, I think
and they will eventually look for something more transcendent, more grandiose.
I stopped agreeing with this slippery slope argument once you left the realm of the algorithmic pressure. I don't think that people are gonna feel the same need to pipeline themselves into more and more esoteric forms of the thing they're consuming.
There's other forces that you're considering right now in this moment in space and time, but consider more external pressures on the populace that sort of dislocate them: increased poverty, intensifying conditions from weather, climate change, and suddenly you have people more and more dislocated from the socio nexus, that they're more and more desperate for a Volksgemeinschaft, for something which locates them within the group, politically protecting them, of course, but also within this more and more need for a sort of egoic transcendence, for relocating and saving themselves. And I do think you will see the preconditions. This will be an important precondition for the fascist violence that we've all been expecting, with, like, climate change rising, putting more pressures on people's finances, government systems, etc. I think the preconditions for those belief systems are here, located in this metaphysical debate.
Look, broadly, I agree with like the mechanism you're describing. Like, I do think that this is a general trend. I just don't think it applies to my son waifu. I don't think Shanin
Yeah.
Blake. Listen, I think that Shanin
It
Blake
doesn't. I
has
no. I never
demonstrated.
said it applied to her.
No, you say it's
I
applying to
said-
her audience. You're saying it's applying to her audience, right? I
no,
think
no,
that
no,
Shanin.
no, I didn't. No, I didn't
No?
say it applies to her audience.
Well, this is
I don't-
about her
no,
soul, so this is irrelevant then.
No. I think you're misunderstanding.
Okay.
When I'm saying that
Hmm.
she represents a sort of signifier of the sort of preconditions of fascism, you can't locate the blame on one individual person. So,
No.
for example, Heidegger was the rector at Freiburg, right? And he dedicated his life to this idea of a sort of transcendent rebirth of the nation. By the time Jews were being removed from their positions in academia, he realized something was going very, very wrong. And he did eventually kind of remove support directly for the Fuhrer. But ultimately, he was ideologically committed to this metaphysical transcendence. And he acknowledged the role, this obsession with a metaphysical transcendence of the nation, how much that was a precursor for the conditions in which fascism of the fascist political program emerged and offered a solution, offered a plan, right? I think also he wrote about how, you couldn't understand completely the genocide of the Jews without understanding it in this ecological genocidal context, the fervor in which the Nazis believed themselves to be magically purifying and reclaiming the land, right? There is this core magical component to these fascist belief systems that, I think people miss because they're looking for overt conservative
Yeah.
signifiers, right?
Yeah, but what if you make? Hold on.
No, and that's what
No.
I'm saying. I'm just saying when people look at her, I want them to understand that we're seeing lefty coded behaviors. We're seeing progressive coded
That's what I'm saying.
behaviors.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're
Yes.
seeing utopian hopefulness.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think people don't understand this could equally be a sort of precursor of fascism. I think we can't just say fascism is when MAGA storms the Capitol. That's not necessarily true.
No, listen. I agree. I think fascism.
I think more important.
I think fascism looks. I think fascism is going to look more like Fuentes. Like that. I feel like that's a better archetype.
I think all pageant
next
moms
20
are
years.
fascists, and she
True.
definitely falls into
Incredible.
that category.
Yes. But look, hold on. I have to.
No, I don't. I don't agree.
Let me, you've been talking so long, Olive. I swear to fucking God.
I know, but you
Fine.
could. I don't think fascism will look like Fuentes.
God
I think
damn it.
fascism will look like Fuentes and Sun Waifu getting together
Getting
and
married.
coming up.
Whoa, they're the
Perfect.
blood
That's what
emperors.
fascism
Now,
will
here's
look like.
my
It won't
problem.
look just like
Here's my
Fuentes. It
problem.
won't look just
Here's
like
my
Fuentes.
problem. Here's my problem. I think that humanity, obviously, there's a big god hole, right? A big spiritual hole, which you're invoking as a source of the fear that drives people towards conservative values. Do you not think? I think that Sun Waifu is clearly demonstrating a lot of leftist values. Maybe not like hard leftism, but like.
Okay, that's cope.
No, it's not cope. First of all, we have
you gotta present your case here. Give us
multiple
one, give us one.
multiple posts about BLM, big long screeds about how black people are great. Talking
I was gonna
about
say,
how
I
she
think
looks.
That's because she has to, because she's stolen so much of their culture.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
No,
We
no, I
debunked
think
that.
she-
You're
We
falling for the
debunked that.
greenwashing,
We
dude.
debunked that.
No,
You
I
fucking
think-
debate pervert.
I think she could be authentically. Yeah, I think she.
I think
has
she's
a left
authentically
aesthetic,
liberal.
certainly.
You know, I think she's like probably she's just like a regular. She's not leftist. I think she's like a regular. You know,
At
sort
most,
of.
we can infer she's a libertarian.
No, a sock dem. I think is probably like
based off her
there's-
drug
there's
policies.
left libertarians. There's left libertarians.
Sure,
No,
sure.
This is the thing. Is again though, you're kind of. I think the issue is people are conflating again the confusion with the idea of fascism always as conservative, meaning kind of retroactive looking, sort of a sort of conservative nostalgia. I don't think that's true either. I think she seems left or liberal to us because she's sort of interested in the future. But again, Nazi fascists were interested in the Volksgemeinschaft of the future. They were actually
hold on. No, there are two major components I have to push back against. Okay, number one, she has an absolutely her whole worldview has a total fixation on introspection, which the esoteric fascism does not have. Esoteric fascism has a fixation on this
That's not true.
social. Hold
But the
on.
conclusion of her introspection was
Wiz, shut the
saving
fuck up.
aliens,
I'm
dude.
cooking. Okay, esoteric fascism is focused on a social introspection, but not on a individual psychological introspection. First of all,
That's not
right?
true.
It is true.
not true, no.
It is true.
Hyperborean can equally be individual. The individual.
It's not about
affect is
individualism.
more-
It's about the
The
introspection.
individualism is more of a sort of the media consumption of the moment. So we can't necessarily look back on the fascism of the 40s and the 50s.
Fascists
and
were not
relate
doing
it to,
psychedelics. They were doing
didn't have
fucking
TikTok.
stims.
Well, they were doing meth first of all.
Okay, yeah,
but
not
that's fine
psychedelics.
because well,
I'm
okay, well,
serious.
okay, what drug they take doesn't matter because that's
It
the
does.
first condition of
I
numbing
bet you
out.
some
but
Nazis took
no,
psychedelics.
okay, that's the problem, Smug. Is you were like, I want my fascists to take acid. I want acid fascism. I don't
Yeah,
want
let's
meth
go. I
fascism
want
of the 40s and
psychedelic. I
50s.
want Dune. That's how you get Dune, baby. Psychedelic fucking fascists. Let's go. That's what
Well,
I
that's
want.
fine. Yeah, I mean, if we're fine with acid fascism, then sure,
Acid.
bring it
No,
on.
what I'm saying is, here's
I
my
think
argument.
so bad.
Here's my
I
argument.
Way worse,
I think ego death is not very compatible with fascism. I'm sure there's a way to make it work, but I
No,
don't
that's
think.
cope. You're coping.
No, it's not cope. It's not cope. Feeling a sense of
cope.
why is it when people do psychedelics, they feel a greater one? They feel so much oneness, they go fucking vegetarian and vegan, right? That is not the
Fascists
shit.
have that
They
same
feel
sense of
so
oneness.
to go racist, dude.
No, their
No,
oneness is
fascists-
racialized. Their oneness is a
Yeah, I know.
belonging to a singular group, not
I
to
know.
the universe.
Well, okay. Well, so first of all, the obsession with the universe that kind of
Fashion.
has more to do with, I think, people being so dislocated from any sort of social context that, of course, the only thing they can relate to is the universe itself. I think that kind of speaks more to their complete disambiguation.
No,
from any social project.
you're coping. I don't
no,
I don't
so
agree with that. They're not.
And
then
no, but and
that's
nonetheless,
that's
wait,
not fair.
hold up,
That's
hold
not a
up,
fair
hold up.
characterization of
Shut
some
up.
waifu.
Shut up. Okay, so here's the thing. The fascist still is having, you're saying a fascist isn't going to have this sort of ego transcendence. That's
No, I didn't say that.
not
I didn't say ego
Yeah,
transcendence. I said ego death. There is actually an explicit
okay, that's
difference.
same thing.
No,
Okay,
it's
well,
not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Okay.
You transcend your ego and you ego
There's
dies.
no. There's a
same thing.
transcendence of ego, and then there's a death of ego. Right. These are two different things. Right. That oneness that you feel is an opening of yourself. Ego transcendence is like an ascendancy. Right. Like you are operating on a higher level. You can see from a bird's eye view. Ego death is when your boundaries collapse and you are part of the thing that you're observing. You're not observing it from a bird's eye view. It's not an ascendance. It's a you turn into soup with everything else in the universe. That's the difference between
Wait,
ascending
so do you
and
think
ego
the
death.
woman do you think the woman who nearly every single lyric begins with an I statement has truly had her ego die?
No, I don't think so.
Well, yeah, exactly. So this is my thing: is this sort of this is an
This is an
aesthetic
argument.
of
Wait,
ego
hold,
death.
no, I have to correct this. This was an argument I was making to say that I don't think that psychedelics are very compatible with fascism. Like that was my broad, rough statement. You know, an 80% true kind of like, roughly speaking. I think that fascism is not, and we're talking about trends here, so we have to accept that there might be weird cases here or there. But roughly speaking, I feel like fascists are probably not super compatible with psychedelics. I think it just tends to open you up too much to past the boundaries that fascism requires to operate effectively.
Yeah, and I think there could possibly be a contradiction ultimately within acid fascism, but the issue is I think plenty of people can participate in this complete cultural aesthetics. She goes to Peru, she does ayahuasca. I think you could even hypothetically do like I also gang stalked her and I got on her Instagram and I found a video she made from like 2022 where she's on a mountain doing mushrooms.
Yeah.
She filmed herself talking and it's all about herself, right? So I think it's possible you can have psychedelic experiences and never actually go down the path of the ego death. But then the problem is you're still participating in the essential affect of psychedelics. You're still having a psychedelic experience. You're just not necessarily able to actually
but I'm saying
have
that
ego death or whatever.
but what I'm saying is that trend wise I would say that psychedelics are a mark against the traditions that you're suggesting in esoteric fascism.
That's not true though, because I'm saying that out of everyone, 100 people in a room do acid, I think only one of them is going to have a proper ego death. The rest of them are going to get really attached to the experience, the feeling that they had of, I'm so special. I finally feel special. I finally feel like I have a culture. I have a group to participate in. And those 99 people have now, I think, especially if they accept certain metaphysical preconditions, I think are primed. I don't think they will necessarily do it, but I think they've been metaphysically primed to kind of start exploring things that take them as a way of managing this terror. And I think that they're primed to accept certain fascist beliefs of a sort of
I would like to.
grandiose
Oh wait,
transcendence.
I need to.
A
Okay, hold
facet
on.
trip,
Let me
dude.
just clarify this a little bit. I think when you say primed, I think probably I think what would be more accurate is to say that the existing priming has dissolved somewhat, which does leave them open to other things, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're primed for fascism. It just means that the existing programming of our current liberal whatever it has left them more open to other experiences. So what we should be doing is catching these people and bringing them into the leftist fold. And you know what would be great for that? A liberal sun waifu who teaches them leftist values through the astrological religion of
fascists are going to start
Starseedism.
brainwashing people with acid.
I will
I know.
brainwash
First of
people
all,
with acid.
first of all, the
absolutely.
CIA has already been brainwashing people with acid for
We know.
a while. Second of
So
all,
a
I
group
don't think
of
bringing
100 people doing acid, and then a fascist is there also taking the acid. He can now explain acid or fascism in acid terms.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's a term,
stupid.
right?
That's
When
so dumb.
if 10 people are taking acid and one of them is a Nazi, then you have 11.
Shut up,
now.
you fucking
true,
freaks!
dude.
Yeah, if you don't kick the Nazi out of your ayahuasca circle, then you have a Nazi ayahuasca circle. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, demon mama, calm down. Jesus
Yeah, no,
fucking
but
Christ.
that's what I mean about the priming again. Those I'm not saying this. Everyone
It dissolves
is
the existing
participating.
conditioning. It doesn't prime them for fascism. It just removes their existing conditioning.
No,
that
it
inoculates
doesn't
them against
remove
new
the
ideas.
existing conditioning.
Not
No,
remove, but
doesn't
it weakens
remove any
weakens.
conditioning.
Shut up. You know what I mean. It
No,
weakens.
because
I know
fascism
tons of
fundamentally.
fascists that take acid, and it's
I
not
think-
changed them. I
Yeah, hold
actually
up,
know
hold
a
up.
Discord server that's just that.
I think again, Smug, that's a kind of false pretense where you are attempting to locate yourself as completely sort of deprogrammed from the sort of current system, right? Like you understand
I'm
yourself as
deprogrammed.
correctly located.
I'm the most
Wait, but you're
capitalist
saying we
person
should
here.
pull people towards us. I know we're saying we should pull people over to our group. I don't think we can save anyone. And again, this is why I
Oh my
see
God.
these kind of this
Your acid
participation-
pill is a black pill. Jesus Christ. Okay.
You're accusing everyone
Oh,
of
yeah,
being
no.
black pill these days,
Dude, you are! Okay,
not
Wiz is a
black-pilled.
fucking authoritarian tanky, and
called
Olive
me
is so
black-pilled
black-pilled
last
that she
time.
thinks that you can't even save the 99 people on an acid trip
No.
from
You know
fucking
my
capitalist
take.
realism.
I'm a left accelerationist who actually believes the leftist principle in accelerationism should be to deaccelerate. So when I see something like Sun Waifu, I can't help but understand her within those terms, which is that this looks like an acceleration of metaphysical beliefs towards this this spiritual interest people have in transcendence. And I think accelerating this, anything which pours accelerant on this need is necessarily harmful.
So would you okay, hold on. So would you say I need to ask one question. I need to ask one question. Sorry, but I need to ask one question. Do you think then we have an obligation to essentially be a bulwark against this any kind of transcendence based ideology? You think that needs to just be cut out? It's so dangerous and toxic that no matter where it's framed, it needs to be cut.
No, we just need to
Stopped.
get rid of acid.
Well, no. Yes and no. Well, definitely not that. No, yes and no. Here's the issue: is like I think the way you're a bulwark is by being like a sort of like a enlightened spiritual centrist, right? So like the spiritual centrist is someone who isn't going to discount like the person playing tarot, right? They're not going to say you're retarded. There's nothing going on here because there could actually be there's interesting projection that goes on in tarot. People project onto the cards and they actually kind of like learn something about themselves in a very irrational way. So the enlightened spiritual centrist isn't going to just try to throw away everything and say stop that. Like it's still going to kind of look at her. That's maybe what you're doing. So like I'm going to build a bridge. That's probably what you're doing with Sun Waifu.
So can I explain?
Okay,
can I
there's
explain?
certain things. Wait.
Wait, no, because I have another word. I need to know if we're on the same
claim.
page.
Oh,
I need
God,
to.
okay.
Holy shit! This is a conversation. I need to know if we're on the same page. Okay, all right. Are you
Okay,
familiar with
okay.
like the whole chaos magic thing?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, that sounds like what
Like,
you're
I read about the
describing is.
Discordians. I read about the Discordians for a while.
Yeah,
too,
so there's I think Alan Moore has some very good books on it. Actually, he was a chaos magician.
I love Alan Moore.
Yeah,
I
right,
love
he's
Alan
brilliant,
Moore.
right? Okay, so like this chaos magic is kind of his thing. He popularized it in a lot of senses. But yeah, it's this idea of using. I think that's where I sit. It's this idea of using these like superstitious and supernatural traditions, like tarot, like you just mentioned, in a way that interfaces nicely with our weird irrational meat brains, and you do it from like a sort of scientific academic perspective, you
Yeah.
understand that there's
You're
like a limitation to it in terms of it actually affecting the world. But given that almost all of the world is now a human construct, any fiction that you engage with is also engaging with the fictional construct of all of society, you know, postmodernism, baby. So the end result is magic may as well be real. If the economy is fucking real, then the things you do to help you engage with the economy as sort of a magical construct of
Right.
like the human social structure, then any other magical system that you're using is just as valid so long as it provides you utility and doesn't harm others. You know, you just take
Right.
magic from a
I would
utilitarian
agree.
perspective.
The issue is those like you've come to those sort of large conclusions which sound very fantastic, and it's kind of fun to say them first and then walk someone to how you got there, because
Yeah.
when most people read or listen to Alan Moore, they're not going to sort of think like, they're not going to see Sun Waifu, they're not going to see someone deeply irrational,
We're
but
gonna
he
see the
does come
Joker
to
and Batman.
they're going to see like Rorschach, you know. I mean, he kind of but
Yeah.
they're going to
With the
the
killing
issue
joke,
though,
but okay.
the issue though is like, for example, you know, sometimes, you know what, like if you meet like a cynical person, like
Yeah.
they're actually sometimes deeply hopeful, soft people. The cynicism is like a protective shield.
Yeah.
When I see someone like Sun Waifu, though, I actually see someone who's deeply pessimistic, deeply cynical, and who has kind of dressed themselves up in an illusion. And I think that's a really key difference between the way Alan Moore might try to be reclaiming these kind of you know, so-called magical traditions and relocating them within the liminoid, versus someone who is trying to clearly transcend. They're trying to spiritually bypass the bad feelings, the fear that they have as an impoverished single mother, the fear they have being completely dislocated from any social fabric, any religious context which provides meaning to their life, any kind of career path which provides them a chance to dissociate into the work and provide some sort of meaning from their life. I see someone who is terrified and deeply, deeply cynical and spiritually bypassing with metaphysical concepts that I think are dangerously, dangerously irrational. So, yes, the spiritual centrists can still look at her and not completely throw it away. Say,
That's
I think it's
me.
cool people experiment it with the irrational. I think there's actually probably a lot of things located in the irrational that are actually still useful. Irrational doesn't mean bad, but she's
Yeah.
not just playing with the irrational. I mean, she's kind of a fucking narcissist, frankly, who is using this to draw attention to her OnlyFans. That's what she's doing. And it's just an
Wow.
aesthetic. This is just an aesthetic that she's using to sell herself as spiritually enlightened, so that you buy her OnlyFans and you don't feel as bad about jerking off to her.
What would it? First of all, the OnlyFans I don't think is the main component of her work. Like she's selling
She's making
out
almost 100K
Yeah,
a month.
where
on
else
her
do you think
OnlyFans.
she's making money?
off
buddy?
of OnlyFans. Really?
You know,
she's making
OnlyFans
almost
pays better than
100K a
gigs.
month.
Where else is she making money?
Holy shit.
She just through subscribers alone, she's making over 80K a month. You can just sort of do this math. This is assuming everyone has bought the lowest tier and isn't
What
tipping.
the fuck? Really?
So this is an OnlyFans.
We're in the wrong
yes.
business, dude.
We are in
You
the
are.
wrong business.
Well, not
Wiz,
you,
Wiz,
Wiz,
are you?
actually.
Yeah,
Both-
Wiz, are you
actually,
willing
both of you
to?
for probably. Do you guys
Yeah.
have radio faces? Let's say.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Jesus
I don't
Christ!
even know what
the
I look
fuck?
like.
That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. Okay, hold on. So, okay. Oh god, right. That OnlyFans, that OnlyFans reveal has blindsided me a little bit. Okay, hold on. I need to do some
You didn't know she had
recalculating.
OnlyFans?
I knew she had an OnlyFans. I
You
thought it
banged
was like.
her and you didn't do the math
Hold
on
on.
her OnlyFans.
I didn't do the math on her OnlyFans. It didn't really seem. Well, to be honest, the reason I didn't do math on her OnlyFans is because I'm anti-sex and I just never click OnlyFans links no matter what. Like I
Okay,
treat
cool,
all
cool,
women as if
cool.
they just don't have an OnlyFans if they have an OnlyFans. You know what I mean? Like
Well, I'm
I
actually
don't need to see that.
anti-sex, and I immediately went to look for the OnlyFans. and how
Why?
much
You
money
are
she's
a
making off
fucking
of
you're a fucking hack. I'm the
'Cause I
actual
knew that's
spiritually
what she's
enlightened.
doing.
That's
I
the
knew
draconian
that's
in
what.
her.
No, but that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the draconian.
for the math.
Her cold
Straight for the math.
reptilian calculation. She immediately, oh, bad at maths. Bad at maths, are you, Olive? How did you calculate her
I-
OnlyFans? She's like, I used a simple calculation to determine how much
the
money she's
Draconian
making
hides
off of
their
pornography.
draconian nature, dude.
Fucking,
Like,
and
Look,
she
I
said
can
she
sense
lied. She lied.
Lycurian or
No, a draconian would lie. A
Starseed-
draconian would lie here. You're a lizard Niskin suit. A draconian would have lied
I
just the
know.
way you
Well,
did.
look,
You're
I
an
thought my
unevolved
people
draconian.
wiped her star people out. My starseed wiped her starseed out. I'm really pissed to find her being so successful here on Earth.
Oh my fucking god, dude. Oh my fucking god.
Oh,
Okay.
No, but this is the thing: is she's doing what I think is like what a lot of the OnlyFans, you know, which by the way, you know, the feminist in me is honestly like, power to you ladies, just sort of milking these men who love to look at hate content. They'll go on whatever podcasts, say some dumb shit or whatever, because they know a bunch of men are gonna hate click them and subscribe and hate jerk to them. I think she's probably doing something similar. I mean, I'm not saying she's probably rapping for herself and having fun, but clearly she's cleaning up pretty nicely from all this hate attention she's getting. It's the same phenomenon, really.
Although she deleted her Twitter, right? Didn't you say?
No. I looked into this.
Oh.
I looked into this. I forgot to bring this
happened?
up.
Yeah, what
So
happened?
way less interesting than we think. She did not have Twitter, and the Twitter
Ah.
account got banned when Elon Musk was like, "I'm getting rid of all copy accounts, imposter accounts."
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Also,
alright.
I mean, there's really no benefit to Twitter. Twitter sucks. I mean, you go viral on Twitter doing something else. I mean, there's
Yeah.
very little
I agree.
benefit to Twitter these days. So even if she did, that
It's
wouldn't
all
really
Instagram.
change
That's
anything.
probably that's always going to be
Yeah.
the way to do stuff. Okay. Or TikTok. All right. Okay. So hold on. This OnlyFans thing. Does this change anything about how I feel? Let me think.
I think it did. The fact that you're
Yeah, it
asking.
definitely did. It stunlocked you, dude.
It did stunlock me. I'm trying, but I think it's because it's a big piece, right? Like I have this big house of cards. All right, I built something up. All right, I feel like I've made strong arguments throughout the
It
stream.
is the whole house.
and
it's the entire foundation.
and then I didn't.
It's draped in hippie bullshit.
There's a big block. I'm just trying to think how. Okay, selling the hippie sex aesthetic.
That's I don't even know why you have
Hippie to
question
her
that.
is what
Obviously.
transphobia
Well,
is to
explain.
that.
Explain.
It's just
Explain.
the facade of
Help me.
a
Explain.
much wider enterprise.
She's hippie lav, yeah.
She's hippie lab. No! No! Oh, every time I try and get away from the cluster B bitches, I get spun around and I end up walking straight back into them.
No.
Can't
get away from them.
Okay, hold on. All right. Fuck, that
You
really
gotta fix your
stunlocks
mic
me.
setting too. It clips out when you scream too loud.
I'll clip
again.
you, motherfucker, alright? I've seen your little waggy TikTok ass
yeah.
fingers, alright? I know you TikTok
Whoa.
finger. I know you do it. I know.
I
I've
do
seen.
on TikTok.
You do. You TikTok finger, alright? You definitely do. I know Wiz does. I've seen
You
him do
can-
it. You do this. You do this. You're like you do the little like the fucking little. Actually, it is
No, I mean,
literally.
that doesn't-
Actually,
Yeah.
When I
Actually?
did see the TikTok feed she's getting, it's like I honestly actually resent that sort of performative cynicism of
Oh,
the
it's
left,
so
actually
gay.
kind
I
of
hate
more
it.
than I hate her aesthetic. So
Yeah,
it's like that's
true.
why I was like, I can understand this capitalist realist critique, but I find it extremely superficial. And ultimately, they're just frustrated with her in a very like commodity fetish way.
Yeah.
They don't like the commodity she fetishizes. They want her to fetishize their.
To be clear,
commodity. It is
to use a Wiz is going to shut
Or
off now, which is good
commodititties,
because
you could
I'm
say.
gonna send Wiz to sleep right now. To use a Destiny phrase, her constellation of
Jesus.
beliefs, like she demonstrates a lot of patterns that would be usually associated with like overtly dumb things like anti-vax or whatever, but she just hasn't demonstrated any of those beliefs, and she's demonstrated beliefs that aren't consistent with that constellation of bullshit. So it's kind of
I agree.
like
Ultimately,
yeah.
ultimately, I think she is actually an OnlyFans model who has a rapping, niche that she's also speaking
she's
to.
had big
That's
songs.
ultimately what
She's
I
huge
think
on
that's what
Spotify.
I haven't heard a single song that was good. So just by the way,
Just because she's
She's
not good doesn't mean
signed,
she's not
making
big.
money. If she's not signed, she's not making money, dude.
I think she is signed. She's selling out tours, dude. She's selling out
Her own
tours.
tours, it'll be nothing compared to the 80k on an OnlyFans.
You think so?
well, okay, but look,
Absolutely.
so-
The
look,
take home money,
Okay, so she's
no
a
have to worry
rapper.
about studio, not having to worry
She's
about
got
setting things
millions.
up.
She's got millions of
venues.
Spotify plays. She's got millions. I know that's not money.
That's
I know that's not
nothing,
money.
that's nothing,
I know
dude.
that's not money.
I
But I'm
don't-
just
I don't-
saying.
Zero
okay,
point zero
okay,
zero
the point
one
is-
cent per play.
The point is, I'll look. She's also, doing.
She's
fine
done.
with
The
her
rapping, the
music
music
tape,
has
that's fine.
popped off. She has popped off on music as well. You can't deny that.
Okay.
This is terrible.
Well, it's
cope.
all
It's not
horrible,
cope.
but yeah. That's
It's bad music.
that's fine.
Although
That's fine.
I like
No,
look,
I mean,
one of the
no,
songs.
I get it. Look, I get it
Yeah.
though. TikTok girly is like that one who danced a lot, who like was really famous. She kind of made like a little career out of it too. She did some gigs. You can clearly commodify your TikTok presence in an actually meaningful way. Ultimately, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen someone leave the orbit of TikTok in a way that I think actually landed them a successful career. I think obviously you're going to have lots of dedicated parasocials who make up a fan base. So yeah, I guess you can claim a level of relevance. I haven't seen any serious art created by her. But anyways, that's a personal aesthetic preference. So so she's a rapper. She's an OnlyFans person. Again, I'm not arguing that she is herself pulling people down a fascist rabbit hole. But now let's just say now you have a bunch of like a whole audience who's now maybe they were never exposed to the idea that pyramids are were hypothetically, according to her, time traveling devices.
I think it's a
maybe they
metaphor. It's
never
music,
heard of-
man. It's music, man. It's a metaphor. Don't worry about it.
Maybe
It's
they
just a
never heard of
metaphor.
like these
Oh my
other
God.
star seeds, right? And then also now maybe they think it's just a little bit cooler to try acid, but they're the kind of person who takes acid and falls
Would you
in love with
deny?
herself
You would
and
deny?
doesn't fall in
You would
love with
deny
nature.
psychedelics to midwits? Are you saying? Are you putting?
I
Are
would,
you?
yes,
Oh my
I
god!
absolutely
Oh my
would.
god!
I
You're
Oh
just
my
gonna
god!
brainwash
Olive,
them.
Olive is
Absolutely.
Olive is an IQ eugenicist. She denies midwits
Yeah.
the opportunity to ascend consciousness. How dare you? How dare you gatekeep
I'm an IQ
the glory
acid.
of psychedelics?
I'm an acid.
I did psychedelics when I was a
Okay.
fucking retarded teenager. Look at me now,
You think a
okay?
dumb guy is not allowed to
that's
get over
what
his
I'm
PTSD?
saying.
Look at me
That's
now!
what
Don't
I'm
you want everyone to
saying.
be like this? This is the ideal. This is peak performance, baby. You can't
Well,
stop it.
Wiz, the
His
thing
brain
you're
is
saying
soup.
too. Wiz, the thing you were saying actually is the perfect
Now do
example of what I
Grimes?
was calling
No!
that sort of
Grimes is
What did I
perfect.
say?
No, I know. The thing you're saying is the perfect example of the sort of spiritual centrism I'm thinking that like people do need to develop. For example, acid as a sort of cure for PTSD, as well as I think Molly, were actually sort of tested in psychotherapeutic settings, and they did find ways in which it actually can help you with a healing process. I think that like within a psychotherapeutic setting would probably be like so much safer because you can't actually do psychedelics and like get trauma and have traumatic experiences because you overdosed, or you can relive your trauma and not process it in a safe
Or you
environment.
can claw your own face off. I've heard that.
Yeah, the other thing was that they found when studying it, for example, I read this like study on mushrooms. I wish I had it, but like for example, they,
Oh, we're
like, they were
experts in
studying
mushrooms
people
now,
who
actually.
Yeah, it always comes
high-
back to mushrooms.
It's
We
always
covered
back
it
to
last
yeah,
time.
one thing was interesting. They found like people who did high doses versus microdosing. They actually sort of disproved some of the claims people had about microdosing because they found that the sort of the usefulness of mushrooms was enough to have this kind of imaginal archetypal reorganization of your mind in a way that you could kind of unbelieve certain cognitive distortions that you maybe accepted that were rooted in shame.
Yeah.
That was the useful part of mushrooms. So they actually realized if you're going to use it in a sort of psychotherapeutic setting, you should always do it. Okay, I think with under the advisement of a therapist. By the way, that's my
Whoa.
official
Yeah.
stance.
Or your
but
buddy
you would
Brett,
want to-
who's happy to
Or
be a
Definitely
cartoon
not
for
Brett.
you while
I
while,
think
you
you
while
have to have
drinking.
cartoons
No,
for
no.
you
Make
as
sure
well.
make sure that Brett is drinking Budweiser, not Heineken, while he's trip sitting. Just you don't want him to be too, like a light beer, and then you should be fine. Yeah, get Brett
Definitely
to do
not.
Brett,
Dude, I'm
Brett
having
is a great
traumatic
trip
flashbacks.
sitter.
I'm having traumatic flashbacks.
My trip sitter would wait for me to get high, and then he would start like trying to spook me, and then he would do a shitload of ketamine and pass out, and I was just left alone.
Gun to your head, trip sitter. You have to pick one of these people as your trip sitter. Queeman, Brianna Wu, not so erudite. Which one's your
Friend
trip
of the
sitter?
show, Quinn. How you doing in the audience?
Erudite, easy.
Erla.
Erudite is easy, dude. Erudite is easy. She think whether or not her psychological. She's got. You know what? You know what? This is me and Erudite. We have a pact, okay? Every time I invoke psychological shit, she says, "Yep, he's right," and every time she does it, I say she's right. I don't know. Maybe we're both liars, but either way, we're both liars. It's like a mafia. Like either me and Erudite are both grifting off the back of our psychology degrees, or we're both legit. But it's definitely one or the other. Okay, we are tied. So
Okay.
yes,
You
Erudite will
surprised
save me.
You surprised me with that pick. I thought you were going to pick Queeman.
No, Queeman. No, Queeman's the worst because Queeman is a cortisol slickened terror being. Okay, he is a terrified creature. I've not said this on stream before. I've not said this on stream before. Okay, I love Queeman very much. He is a terror-stricken, fear-based creature. Okay, Queeman is so scared of the consequences of spicy chat that when Destiny asked him a question like, "What's your fucking problem with me?" the motherfucker seized up and then went to his chat and was like, "Oh, I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Quinn,
I don't
feel
know what I
free
could
to
have
come in
done."
and defend yourself.
Yeah, seriously, you can come
Hey,
defend
Wiz,
yourself, buddy.
feel
All right,
free to come and
review
defend
these
yourself.
review these lolcows, motherfucker. Come at us, okay?
Wiz.
You are a quivering, fear-based creature. All right, I know your vibe. I love you.
Yes,
your desk
Olive?
is too big for you.
So Wiz, unfortunately, Smugbug already took Not So Erudite. So gun to your head.
Oh
You're left
no!
with Queeman or
Oh
Brianna
no!
Wu. Which
After
one?
the
Who's your
threat!
trip
After
sitter?
the
Oh, dude,
threat!
Brianna Wu, we're talking about Gamergate all night.
Yeah, let's
No.
go! Oh my god, imagine if Brianna Wu shows you her new video game project and it's the best thing you've ever fucking seen while you're high.
I'd be sat there tripping. I'd be like, "What's it like to be the devil?"
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
not the
God.
devil. She's a draconian. She's a fellow draconian. Okay. She's
If
a
I yeah,
fellow reptile
true.
like myself.
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
Real recognize real. Okay.
Yep.
Look, we both like to talk about policy a lot. Okay. It's,
You're
it's
all
a
you're all
draconian thing.
yeah,
You wouldn't get
all
it.
the white women in politics are lizard people. I'm so glad we agree. Finally, we reached a consensus. Holy
Okay,
fuck.
well-
All right. You tried, you failed. I'm sorry. Sun Waifu was perfect.
I won. Give me a break.
You didn't fucking
I
win.
won
You
that
didn't
one.
fucking win. It's such
You're
cope,
such
dude.
a liar.
I think I won.
You
My
haven't,
arguments were
Olive.
mostly
definitely
Listen,
didn't
we
win.
haven't disagreed. Here's where this debate has landed. Okay, we haven't disagreed on the broad strokes, but I don't feel like you've in any way sufficiently attached this to either of my premises, which is that Sun Waifu is not individually doing anything wrong. I don't even think that she. I think that she preempts. Well, I mean, she's done a couple things wrong, but like when it comes to the esoteric fascism stuff, I don't think that really cuts deep enough to suggest that she's doing something incorrect. I think she probably
Yeah, I
is.
agree.
You know, she's maybe narcissistic, superficial, whatever. She's a pop star, of course she's going to be. I don't care about that
OnlyFans
stuff so
model.
much. Oh, OnlyFans model, yeah. Honestly, pop star more than OnlyFans model, to be honest.
More OnlyFans model than pop star, but yeah.
Really, you think that? I think more pop stars are narcissists than OnlyFans models.
When
I would
not
say
necessarily, no.
okay, fine. It's just a vibe space thing.
But wait, hold up. I never challenged that premise though, because I don't think she is individually bad. Again,
Yeah,
I
but that was the
think-
whole
I
fucking.
think the
Yeah,
issue,
right.
though-
So what? Here was my point. My point was, I don't think you've sufficiently. You can't say you won this debate because the debate had two premises. One, Shanin
Because
Blake.
I won it.
Shut up. The
Because I won it.
trial of Shanin Blake. Okay, the battle for Sun Waifu's soul, but also the idea that 1% of the population in the communist utopia is going to be like this, and that will be okay. And I still think that expressing yourself irrationally through things like xenogender or astrology or whatever, so long as you maintain a tradition of leftist values within it, and the stories and narratives that we concoct are framed through a leftist lens, or at least like a fucking lefty liberal lens, then I think that is better than leaving that space open to the esoteric fascists that you are so fearful of.
Well, yes and no. So I do think I proved that we should reclaim certain symbols.
Okay, cool.
within the
Shannon
sort of
Blake, we will turn her
more grounded-
leftist.
more
We'll turn her from a liberal to a leftist. I will.
You can't say that's what she's doing. So again,
No, she's
I
definitely
agree
not.
with the premise that you can't say she's proving harm, but
Yeah.
I definitely don't think she's doing that thing you're talking about. And
I
again,
agree.
I'm saying
Neutral.
I think the fear from her, and I'm trying to contextualize it within this rising esoteric fascism. I think the fear of her is probably located in this intuitive understanding that there is this actually metaphysical precondition to fascism that is important to note. So while
think
she
she's-
could, of course, she could be a residual, right? She could be a residual, slightly esoteric fascist that always is with us. That's fine. There's always residuals. There will always be a
Gang
residual of
Glutapol.
capitalism, even in socialism, right? We'll
Absolutely.
probably
Hold
always
on.
have
I think
gambling.
she's symbolic of something that you're afraid of, and she aesthetically represents something that you're afraid of, but I don't think she is actually, in reality, the thing that you're afraid of. And I think that the thing you're afraid of is real. I just don't think that she is... She's...
No, but she's not what I'm afraid of, the
Yeah.
person. But she reminds me of where I think fascism will come from. Not from the conservatives that we currently see today, but from this this false sense of utopia, this false premise of utopia, this false feeling of a Gemeinschaft of the future, Volksgemeinschaft of the future, and this feeling that we're about to transcend something. I think that promise of escape always leads to fascist conclusions, whether or not the individual themselves actually goes completely down the rabbit hole. They've played a part in the priming of the people for these kinds of conclusions. And I think particularly now with certain precarity that we're in, I think this priming is actually especially dangerous.
Yeah, I've disagreed with your point about priming. Like, I think that I think it reduces their existing priming. I don't think it primes them for a new thing, unless it is specifically priming them for it, right? I don't think just the adoption of spirituality is enough to prime people towards fascist ideals. I think it's just enough to make them more likely to move in any direction.
Okay, I did a poll.
No, I agree.
I did a
I
poll.
agree.
All of one on Twitch, and all of 1 on YouTube.
Ooh.
By like a large margin on both.
Yeah, you
Well,
guys are coping.
now it's time for my dictatorship. My
Absolute
dictator.
cope. Absolute cope.
My fascist
Absolute
space
cope.
dictatorship.
Absolute fucking cope. I don't.
Alright.
As we all know, democracy doesn't work. It has failed. This is a technocracy with me at the helm. Okay, the only one who understands how to use OBS.
Yeah. Well, it's a neoliberal technocracy for now, but I've primed the audience. I will be taking over soon.
You primed them for you primed them for fuck. Oh fuck yeah, get the fuck out of here. God damn it.
No.
Fucking bullshit ass, fucking Heideggerian, fucking yeah. Christ.
Unbelievable.
Heidegger, more like
1 or 2 words
Heidegger.
she said there.
Yeah, I know that Wiz was so out of his element. It was incredible. That was
She's talking
that was
about
amazing.
endurably the circumflex of the
yes,
super navigator.
the esoteric fascism of the flight of the navigator.
Childish Gambino. Childish Gambino.
Oh my fucking god, Childish Gambino.